Welcome to the second part of the lecture on forensic psychiatry. I am Dr. Sanil Kumar MC, working as professor and head of the Department of Forensic Medicine, Government Homeopathic Medical College, Kozhikode. In this lecture, we will be dealing with the international classification of disease of mental illness, then the causes of mental illness, then the psychosis associated with the organic disease, the affective type of mental illness, neurosis type, personality disorders, sexual deviations, drug dependency, diagnosis of insanity, and the difference between true and feigned insanity. This is the international classification of disease 10, that is dealing with the classification of mental disorders, which was formulated in 1992. F0 means organic mental disorders, including symptomatic mental disorders. Then F1 is mental and behavioral disorders due to psychoactive and other substance use. F2 is schizophrenia, schizotypal and delusional disorders. F3 is mood or affective disorders. F4 neurotic, stress related and somatoform disorders. F5 behavioral syndromes and mental disorders associated with psychological dysfunction. F6 disorders of adult personality and behavior. F7 mental disorders. F8 disorders of psychological development. F9 behavioral and emotional disorders with onset usually occurring in childhood or adolescence. So F0 was organic mental disorders, including symptomatic organic mental disorders. F00 is dementia, as seen in Alzheimer's disease. F01 is vascular dementia. F02 dementia in other diseases classified elsewhere. F03 unspecified dementia. F04 organic amnesic syndrome, which is not induced by alcohol or other psychoactive substances. F05 means delirium not induced by alcohol and other psychoactive substances. F06 is other mental disorders due to brain damage and dysfunction and not due to physical disease. F07 is personality and behavioral disorders due to brain disease or brain damage or brain dysfunction. F09 is unspecified organic and symptomatic mental disorder. F1 is mental and behavioral disorders due to psychoactive substance use. F10 is mental and behavioral disorders due to alkaloid. F11 due to opioids. F12 due to use of cannabinoids. F13 use of sedatives or hypnotics. F14 due to use of cocaine. F15 due to other stimulants including caffeine. F16 due to hallucinogens. F17 due to use of tobacco. F18 due to use of volatile solvents. F19 due to multiple drug use and other psychoactive substances. F2 is schizophrenia. F20 schizophrenia. F21 schizotypal disorder. F22 persistent delusional disorders. F23 is acute and transient psychotic disorders. F24 is induced delusional disorder. F25 is schizoaffective disorders. F28 means other non-organic psychotic disorders. F29 unspecified non-organic psychosis. F3 means mood or affective disorders. F30 is maniac disorder. F31 is bipolar affective disorder. F32 is depressive episode. F33 recurrent depressive episode or disorder. Then F33 persistent mood or affective disorder. F38 other mood disorders or affective disorder. F39 is unspecified mood disorder or affective disorder. F4 is neurotic, stress related and somatoform disorders. F40 is phobic disorders. F41 is other anxiety disorders. F42 is OCD. F43 reaction to severe stress and adjustment disorders. F44 is dissociative disorders or conversion disorders. F45 somatoform disorders. F48 is other neurotic disorders. F5 is behavioral syndromes and mental disorders associated with psychological dysfunction. F50 means eating disorders. F51 sleep disorders due to emotional cause. F52 is sexual dysfunction not caused by organic disorder or disease. F53 is mental and behavioral disorders associated with puerperium not classified elsewhere. F54 is psychological or behavioral factors associated with disorders or diseases classified elsewhere. F55 means abuse of non-dependence producing substances. F59 is behavioral syndromes and mental disorders associated with psychological dysfunction unspecified. F6 means disorders of adult personality and behavior. F60 means specific personality disorders. F61 mixed and other personality disorder. Then there is gender identity disorder. F64 the disorders of sexual perversion. F65. F66 means psychological and behavioral disorders associated with sexual development and orientation. F68 means other disorders of adult personality and behavior. F69 disorders of adult personality and behavior. F7 means mental disorders that is classified as mental retardation. F70 is mild mental retardation. F71 is moderate mental retardation. F72 is severe mental retardation. F73 is profound mental retardation. F78 is other mental retardation, and F79 means mental retardation unspecified. F8 is disorders of psychological development, that is in F80 there is specific developmental disorders of speech and language. F81 means specific developmental disorders of scholastic skills. F81 means specific developmental disorders of motor functions. F83 means mixed specific developmental disorders. F84 means pervasive developmental disorders. F88 is other disorders of psychological developments. F89 means disorders of psychological development unspecified. F9 means behavioral and emotion disorders with onset usually occurring in childhood or adolescence, like in F90 there is 90 there is hyperkinetic disorders, F91 conductive disorders, F92 fixed disorder of conduct and emotion. F93 means emotional disorders with onset specific to childhood. F94 means disorders of social functioning with onset specific to childhood or adolescence. F95 is tic disorder. F98 other behavioral and emotion disorders with onset usually occurring during childhood or adolescence, and F99 means mental disorders unspecified. And this is the classification of WHO made in 1965, in which mental diseases can be classified into psychosis, and which is further classified into organic psychosis and functional psychosis. Organic psychosis means senile and pre-senile dementia, alcoholic psychosis, and organic psychosis associated with intracranial infections, and organic psychosis associated with cerebral arteriosclerosis, epilepsy, intracranial tumors, degenerative disorders, brain anomalies, etc. The second type of psychosis is functional psychosis, which is classified as schizophrenia and affective type. The second variety is neurosis, which can be classified as anxiety neurosis, hysterical neurosis, obsessive compulsive neurosis, depressive neurosis, depersonalization syndrome, hypochondriacal syndrome, then unspecified neurosis. The third variety is personality disorders, then there is sexual deviation, and the fifth variety is drug dependency. Now about the causes of mental illness, there can be hereditary causes like Huntington's, in case of Huntington's chorea. The second cause is environmental factors. The third one is psychogenic factors, especially when there is unsuccessfully repressed mental conflicts. The fourth cause is precipitating stress factors, and the fifth one is organic. Examples for hereditary causes include Huntington's chorea and amaurotic family idiocy. Then environmental factors include faulty parental attitude and lack of mental hygiene. Psychogenic factors include unsuccessfully repressed mental conflicts. Precipitating factors include financial and business worries, frustrations and disappointments in sexual affairs, death of close relatives, etc. Organic causes include mental disease from head injury, atherosclerosis, senile degeneration, mixed edema, pernicious anemia, etc. Now about the different types of mental illness. First one is psychosis associated with organic illness. So mental diseases which arise from some structural brain damage are called organic psychosis. And these type of organic psychosis are characterized by lability of mood, that is changing of mood, failure of memory, there will be deterioration of intellect, the patient may be highly irritable, he has irrational anger, he exhibits confusion, and there is loss of social inhibitions, etc., which will lead to such persons into unacceptable behavior by the society and also may lead to sudden violence. The first type of organic psychosis is dementia. So dementia is defined as a condition in which there is degeneration of mental faculties after they have been fully developed. And in dementia, our memory, our intellect, and finally our judgment are impaired. There are two types of dementia, the pre-senile dementia as well as senile dementia. The presenile dementia may occur before 65 years, and presenile dementia is seen in Alzheimer's disease, Pick's disease, Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease, then Huntington's disease, etc. And senile dementia, pseudo-dementia or presenile dementia is also associated with schizophrenia. Then there is the second variety is senile dementia, which is caused due to arteriosclerosis and old age, and usually senile dementia starts after 65 years, and the main symptoms that a senile dementia patient expresses is a feeling of loneliness, of being unwanted, there is loss of prestige, and the cause of onset of this senile dementia may be death of a close relative, and usually the patient is confused and his judgment and memory is impaired. Sometimes delusions, hallucinations, and emotional outbursts are also common in senile dementia. The second type of organic psychosis is due to cerebral tumors. Some mental symptoms may occur at any stage of cerebral tumors, which involves the prefrontal area, the frontal lobe, temporal lobe, as well as the parietal lobes. The third variety is organic psychosis, which is precipitated due to cerebral trauma, and this cerebral trauma can precipitate any type of mental illness. The fourth variety is drug-induced psychosis. So, drug dependency on barbiturates, amphetamines, cannabis, heroin, cocaine, etc. may lead to organic psychosis, and cocaine, LSD, amphetamines, mescaline, etc. can produce clinical symptoms that are similar to schizophrenia. Next variety is toxic psychosis. Some heavy metals like arsenic and mercury, which if ingested in poisonous doses may produce mental retardation, usually due to its chronic poisoning. The next variety is organic psychosis due to deficiency states, that is deficiency of cyanocobalamin, which may produce pernicious anemia. Nicotinic acid may cause pellagra. 5-HT or 5-hydrotryptamine may cause phenylketonuria, and hypoglycemia, etc. may produce mental degeneration. The next topic is or the next variety of is about general paralysis of insane, also known as GPI. This is a chronic progressive condition leading to paralysis and dementia, and GPI is usually associated with meningovascular syphilis as well as Tavus dorsalis, and here in GPI or general paralysis of insane, there is a chronic or psycho-organic syndrome which is characterized by temperamental and personality changes, and the memory is impaired, and also the thought process will be retarded. Next is about epileptic psychosis. So there is a short transitory fits of uncontrollable mania which occur, and there is general impairment of mental faculties with loss of memory as well as self-control, and usually during epileptic psychosis this is followed by auditory and visual hallucination and also delusions of persecution. Sometimes the moral sensibility will be lost, and they are dangerous to themselves and dangerous to others also. And in epileptic psychosis, there may be progressive dementia. The epileptic dementia can be classified into pre-epileptic insanity. So instead of epileptic aura or the prodromal stage, the patient may occasionally develop violent fits of mania or extreme depression of the mind. And in this stage, or in this pre-epileptic insanity, sometimes hallucinations and delusions are also common. And in that phase, that is a pre-epileptic insanity phase, such persons may commit assault or other criminal acts. Next is about post-epileptic insanity. Here, stupor may be following the epileptic fit, and this stupor may be replaced by automatic acts in which the patient, the automatic act cannot be recollected by the patient. And here at this stage, that is post-epileptic insanity, the patient is confused and he is terrified by visual and auditory hallucinations, as well as he experiences delusions of persecution. And during this post-epileptic insanity stage, he may commit crimes such as theft, incendiarism, sexual assaults, as well as murders. And usually these crimes are involuntary, automatic, and unpremeditated. And if at all he commits such crimes, the patient never attempts to conceal them at the time of committing, but may try to conceal them on regaining the consciousness. So during this stage, that is during post-epileptic insanity, patient will not try to conceal them, but after regaining consciousness, patient may try to conceal the criminal act, and these actions are usually habitual also. The third variety is psychomotor epilepsy, or it is otherwise known as temporal lobe epilepsy or masked epilepsy or psychic epilepsy. Here, instead of epileptic fit, the patient will experience temporary and transient seizure of maniacal excitement with loss of consciousness. And it is likely that the patient may have disturbed sensations and sounds, and this may give rise to an automatic behavior. And here at the psychomotor epilepsy stage, the patient may commit crime without any motives. So this completes the organic psychosis diseases, and now coming to the functional psychosis. The mental illnesses which have no neurological basis are called functional psychosis, and these are characterized by disorders of thought which have no physical basis. Two types are there: schizophrenic psychosis and affective psychosis. And in schizophrenic psychosis, disorders of thought process are dominant, and in affective psychosis, mood abnormality is dominant. And usually these functional psychosis are a disease of hereditary origin which affects young adults and form a major group of all psychiatric illness. Coming to the first type, that is schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is a condition of split personality in which the patient loses contact with his environment, and it is primarily a disorder of thinking. And disorder of thinking can be in the form of thinking, in the stream of thinking, the position or content of thought, and this is characterized by splitting of different psychic function, like disorders of behavior, disorders of thought, disorders of affect, delusions, hallucinations, and finally personality deterioration. So, if there is disorders of behavior, the patient will experience withdrawal from reality. There is preoccupation with the self, attribution of feeling of strangeness to outside influence, and feelings that his mind and body are under the control of someone. And there is disorders of thought. If this is present in schizophrenia, or this type is, of disorder of thought is present in schizophrenia, the patient will be confused throughout, and this may lead to thought block or devious thinking that may lead to incoherence of speech, often with newly formed words, or it is otherwise known as neologism. If there is disorders of affect, the patient may experience depression, elation, inappropriate moods, lability of mood or changeability of moods, then anxiety and blunting of emotions. Schizophrenia patients may have delusions of grandeur, paranoid delusions, hypochondriac delusions, as well as delusions of influence. Sometimes he may experience hallucinations. Common hallucinations include auditory hallucinations. Sometimes visual or tactile hallucinations also may be present. So, he may also show personality deterioration, which may affect his work, relationship, family relationships, as well as social relationships. And schizophrenia is the commonest type of insanity which is seen in homicidal crimes, especially when the victim is a stranger. And this homicidal impulse are not sudden, and usually the crime is preceded by much complaining and planning. These are the different types of schizophrenia. To name, there is a simple schizophrenia, hebephrenia, catatonia, paranoid schizophrenia, schizoaffective psychosis, and finally pseudoneurotic schizophrenia. The simple schizophrenia usually begins in early adolescence, and there is a gradual loss of interest in the outside world, from which he will gradually withdraw. And there is an all-round impairment of mental faculties, and usually he becomes emotionally flat, and he may become apathetic, and he has difficulty in forming social relationships. And then there is complete degeneration of the personality, which will occur in the later stage. This is simple schizophrenia. In hebephrenia, this usually begins in adolescents as well as young adults, and here the thinking process is disturbed, and the patient will experience wild excitement, illusions, hallucinations, as well as bizarre delusions. And the conduct of the patient is usually impulsive, and most of the conduct are senseless. So ultimately, the whole personality may disintegrate completely in the case of hebephrenia. The third variety is catatonic schizophrenia. Here, this stage is characterized by alternate stage of depression, excitement, and stupor. The patient may be having impulsive suicidal or homicidal attacks, and the common hallucination is auditory type. And the catatonia state may last for few hours to few days, and the catatonia stage is followed by a stage of stupor, in which the patient shows lack of interest, concentration, as well as general indifference. The fourth type is paranoid schizophrenia. Here, the paranoid term is used to describe all delusions of being affected in some harmful or persecutory way, and paranoia is the mild form, and this type is commonly seen in males, and usually paranoid schizophrenia develops very slowly in the fourth decade, and it is characterized by suspiciousness, delusion of persecution, and auditory hallucinations. And at the first, delusions are indefinite, but later they become fixed on some person, and the patient usually retains his memory and orientation. So when delusions affect his behavior, he is often a source of danger to himself as well as to others. And in paraphrenia, delusions and hallucinations are present, but the personality is relatively intact. This is paranoid schizophrenia. The fifth variety is schizoaffective psychosis. Here, this is an atypical type of schizophrenia, and the most important symptom is mood disturbances. So, there is attacks of elation or depression, unmotivated rage, anxiety, panic, etc. may occur. And the sixth variety is pseudo neurotic schizophrenia. Here, it may start with overwhelmingly permanent neurotic symptoms. So, the next psychosis may be due to pregnancy and childbirth, and during pregnancy, some delusions, dislike or hatred towards husband may occur, and there is a tendency to suicide which may develop during the pregnant lady after childbirth. Postpartum psychosis may result in mania with the tendency to homicide, due to which she may kill her infant also. And later, in the later stage of puerperal depression, there is a tendency to suicide may develop in the lady, and sometimes there is a lactational psychosis which is present during the period of lactation, and this is characterized by mental confusion, hallucinations, delusion and depression, and this may also lead to suicide or homicide. Next is post-traumatic psychosis. Here, brain damage at birth or during early childhood may cause mental subnormality or epilepsy, and the main symptom may be an organic headache which may persist for a long time. Also, there will be confusions and delirium. Sometimes psychosis may develop due to general diseases like thyroid deficiency, pellagra, beriberi, etc. And also some acute infectious diseases may cause confusion at stage, and sometimes depression with suicidal tendency, which may be seen after recovery from these acute infectious diseases. Next is affective type. So these type of mental disorders are of hereditary origin and usually affects young adults, and these form a major group of all psychiatric illnesses. There are two types, that is maniac psychosis as well as depressive psychosis. This shows a cyclic pattern, and this shows wide swinging of mood from which may extend from euphoric elation to deepest depression, and which will be quite out of proportion and often totally unrelated to the external environment or external circumstances. And these two extremes of euphoric elation to deepest depression, in these two extremes, the patients are can be hyperactive or excited at one end of euphoric elation to depressive stupor at the other. So this is a cyclic type of mental disorder, and the primary disturbances is seen in case of affect, and the MDP usually occurs periodically, and there will be isolated attacks of mania and depression which may occur in the same patient, and sometimes sometimes there will be attacks of one type only. First we'll learn about the maniac phase, then about the depressive phase. So in maniac phase there will be exaltation of emotions and intellect. It can be of two types, that is acute mania as well as hypomania. Acute mania is characterized by euphoria or an elated mood, and sometimes it can be irritable mood also. There will be excitement, and there will be loss of self-control. There will be flight of ideas and great muscular activity. Usually the mood is elated and the attention is fleeting, and there is high degree of distraction also. Then in hypomania, which is the mildest form of MDP mania, here there is an exaggerated sense of self-importance, and he may committed petty offenses like theft of items of little value, then there is deception, indecent assault, fraud, etc. may be committed in hypomania stage, acute mania as well as hypomania stage. The next type is of MDP phase is depressive phase or melancholia phase, and here there is a intense feeling of depression and misery without any cause. So the sadness of mood is reflected on his body and face, like he will have we can reflect it from their posture, movements, facial expression, etc. And he usually retires from his usual social activities and avoid friends, and he may commit suicide, and this suicide is well planned, and it is of great danger to the patient also. He may kill relatives, especially dependent young children also. Sometimes homicidal and suicidal tendencies coexist in the same patient, and they have feelings of self-respect and guilt, and they have marked psychomotor disturbances. Now coming to the second variety, that is neurosis. This forms a group of personality disturbances resulting from reactions to different life situations, and they can occur singly, or they can occur in a combination in the same individual. There is anxiety neurosis, hysterical neurosis, phobic neurosis, obsessive compulsive neurosis, as well as depressive neurosis. The first one is anxiety neurosis. So this results from autonomic stimuli. So the patient has spells of dyspnea, choking, palpitation, insomnia, faintness, trembling, chest, headache, chest pain, etc. And during anxiety neurosis, the patient is very much apprehensive or fearful, and he may be depressed and worries about his own health, and he will be having intolerance of noise, intolerance to children, and sometimes intolerance to spouse also may be seen. The next variety is hysterical neurosis. Here it is seen in usually in young females, and but sometimes this hysterical neurosis may occur in old ladies also, whose nervous system is starting deteriorating. The symptoms may commence when they face with unpleasant life situations, and usually the patient shows deafness, blindness, loss of smell, anesthesia, paresthesia, paralysis, or aphonia. These are the common type of presentations seen in hysterical neurosis, and sometimes conversions may occur. So in the associative type of hysterical neurosis, there is change in patient's level of consciousness, and usually the identity are observed. Next is about phobic neurosis. So phobias are defined as specific fears which the patient recognizes as irrational. So they often act as defense mechanisms that protect the patient from unpleasant life situations. And there are different types of phobic neurosis, like fear of high places called as acrophobia, fear of open spaces, agoraphobia, fear of closed spaces, uh, termed as claustrophobia, fear of dead bodies, called as decrophobia, fear of darkness called nyctophobia, and fear of sound called phonophobia, which are a few of the type of phobic neurosis. There is arachnophobia, hydrophobia, etc. And these type of phobic neurosis also interfere with his daily life. The next variety of neurosis is obsessive compulsive neurosis. So here anxiety, depression, and fear also may be present in varying degrees in the same person, and there is obsessional thought which may be associated with a wide range of objects, and doubts may exist whether the doors are locked or if at all the lights are switched off, etc. Another variety of neurosis is depressive neurosis. Here, this depressive neurosis may resemble manic depressive psychosis, but the degree of depression is very less, and the mental retardation, delusions, hallucinations, etc., are absent. there is also risk of suicide. Now about personality disorder. So personality is the characteristic pattern of an individual's attitude, behavior, beliefs, feeling, thought and values, etc. And so personality is the sum of a person's emotional, cognitive and intellectual attributes. So the patient is said to suffer from a personality disorder when the behavior is inappropriate to the situation. So if a situation demands to show grief, and if the patient is showing happiness, then there is a personality disorder. So, psychopathic personality refers to a special arrangement of the mind. So, personality disorder means a person having a disorder which is inappropriate to the situation. So, a persons who are having personality disorders may show lack of normal conscience, absence of normal feelings for other people such as love, affection, sympathy, etc. There is a tendency to anti-social impulsive acts. There is a failure to learn from experience and to be prevented from crime by punishment. There is freedom from any other forms of mental disorders, and usually personality disorders appear in the early childhood, but later it may become pronounced in childhood and sometimes may gradually diminish in later life. And in patients having personality disorders, sexual perversions and crimes are more common. Sexual deviation may be a symptom of an underlying psychiatric disorder such as schizophrenia, senile dementia, personality disorder, etc. And in sexual deviation, the patient indulges in some sexual perversions as well as unnatural sexual practices. Next is about drug dependency. So, drug addicts have a wide range of personality, and most of them are emotionally unstable, and they may show immature character. They will be impulsive and usually angry with society, and usually are unable to achieve their goals or face difficult situations in life. And about 10 percentage of uh, drug dependence cases suffer from psychopathic personality disorders, and alcohol addicts, cannabis, cocaine, morphine and heroin addicts may produce a wide variety of mental conditions. Now about a few words about on diagnosis of insanity. So for diagnosis of insanity, we have to collect the preliminary data, history, then we have to do the physical examination, we have to look specifically into the mental conditions, do certain investigations to confirm our diagnosis, and he may be observed for a few days to confirm the diagnosis, and finally about the issue of certificate. We will be learning how to diagnose the insanity. The preliminary data that has to be collected include name and age and also the address, and we have to collect the details about who bought him, who from which place he is bought from, and the place, date and time of examination, and then the identification marks, and finally we have to obtain the consent from the guardian for examination. For history, we have to first collect the family history. So, insanity or mental illness sometimes can be hereditary. So, we have to inquire about the mental condition of parents, grandparents, uncles, and his family. Also, we have to inquire if anyone in his family has committed suicide, or if anyone of his family members have got gout, rheumatism, syphilis, etc. Then we have to collect about his personal history, like progress in school, then his behavior with others, domestic difficulties or history of emotional shock, if there was any frustrations in life, in his love life, or during sex or during examinations, etc. The problems he had to face in school and at workplace, or if he is problematic at school or workplace, or if he had any head injury, any mental diseases like chorea, epilepsy, convulsions, etc., or if he is having any sexual excess or excessive use of intoxicating drugs, or any previous history of similar attack. These are the items that we have to inquire in personal history. Now we have to collect history from his relatives, teachers and employer about any change in the conduct and behavior in school or in his class or in his job. Then we have to inquire about any changes in his habits and if he is psychologically stable or not from the relatives, teachers or employer. We have to do some physical examination, that is we have to look for the manner of dressing, his walking, talking, dealings, etc., his bearing, then his gestures and habits has to be examined, then the expression which he has in his face, which is blank or vacant, or if his face is normal, expression is normal, whether he is gloomy, morose, listless or apathetic, whether he is very excitable or irritable, or if he has affection for his family and friends, whether he is having insomnia. Sometimes malformations or deformity in head or body may be present, which has to be examined. We have to look for his power of speech and articulation, and we have to check his pulse, temperature, blood pressure and respiration. Then coming to the tongue, we have to look out whether it is foul or furred. Then skin may be usually dry, mottled and wrinkled in case of mental illness. Then hands and feet are usually more moist and cold, and we have to examine for the different systems of body like respiratory system, central cardiovascular system, central nervous system, GIT, etc. Then specifically we have to examine his mental condition. We have to comment on the general appearance and behavior, on the about the gait, speech and talk, about his mood and facial expressions, about his posture, about the thought and their content, about the intelligence, whether he is confused, and we have to check his handwriting for misspellings, omission of letters and muscular tremors. And if we have to examine if he is in contact with reality, ask for dates of common events, names of relatives, etc., to check his memory. For checking his reasoning and judgment, we have to discuss on some subjects to test his reasoning as well as judgment skills, and we have to inquire whether there is any illusions, delusions or hallucinations which the patient may experience. We have to investigate necessary things like blood urea, cerebrospinal fluid, X-ray, ECG and EEG. Second last, we have to observe him for insanity. So before making a diagnosis of insanity or mental illness, the patient has to be kept under observation in a mental hospital or in a general hospital or in a nursing home as the condition demands, and a violent and criminal person may be kept in jail to confirm his insanity and to rule out feigned insanity. And usually the patient may be kept under observation for 10 days, and these 10 days can be extended for up to 10 days more with the permission from the magistrate, and even can be extended, but thus the total duration may be extended to 30 days. So normally 10 days, we can be extended to 10 days, and even can be extended with the permission of magistrate. So maximum period of observation will be 30 days. After that, we have to issue the certificate of insanity, that is two medical certificates in form number 3 will be needed, which includes the signs and symptoms that lead to our conclusions and opinion. And two doctors should examine the patients, and this examination should be done separately without consulting with each other. And at least 3 examinations at 3 different dates and times should be done by each one. So two doctors have to examine the patient separately without consulting with each other, and at least 3 times each doctor have to examine at different times and date by each doctor, and the certificate should not be given after a single examination. We have to do at least 3 examinations. So even if no observation is needed, and in case of a lunatic, we should clearly indicate that the person is lunatic and should be taken care of and detained. Now we have to look into the differences between true and feigned insanity. So in true insanity, the onset is gradual, and in feigned insanity, the onset is sudden. In true insanity, there will be no motive, and in feigned insanity, he will be having a motive to conceal some criminal act or criminal or crime. Then in true insanity, sometimes precipitating factors will be present, and there will be no precipitating factors in case of feigned insanity. And in true insanity, signs and symptoms conforms to a particular type of disorder, and we can easily diagnose true insanity. And so the true insanity will be uniform, that is present at all times, and even if the person is being observed or not. And feigned insanity does not conform to a particular type of disorder, and symptoms may be absent when the patient is not under observation. And in true insanity, the facial expression will be listless, vacant, and fixed. In feigned insanity, he may show frequent changes in his facial expression, and there will be exaggerated grimaces. Insomnia is often present in true insanity, and in feigned insanity, he cannot withstand the lack of sleep. In true insanity, he cannot withstand exertion, fatigue, or hunger can withstand exertion, fatigue, or hunger for prolonged period. And in feigned insanity, he cannot withstand exertion, fatigue, or hunger for prolonged periods. In true insanity, he does not pay attention to personal hygiene, and in feigned insanity, he may only pretend to be disinterested in appearance. And in true insanity, he does not mind examination, but in case of feigned insanity, he resents examination, or he will not come for examination because he'll be having a fear of detection. So we are coming to the end of this lecture, and the topic discussed in this lecture include ICD classification of mental diseases, clinical classification of mental diseases, psychosis and the different types of psychosis, affective types of mental diseases, neurosis, personality disorders, sexual deviations, drug dependency, diagnosis of insanity, and finally about difference between true and feigned insanity. Thank you.